You are listening to Brave Talk Radio. You're just in time to join today's Brave Conversations with your hosts, Jackie Little Guest, Deryl Williams, and Tony Emahel.
Good evening and welcome to another fantastic broadcast of Brave Talk Radio with Deryl Williams and me, yours truly, Latonja Worsham, sitting in as the host today, coming to you tonight with live chat available. So let's get started today. We are starting a new series, Deryl, and it's, or shall we say DW. What's on your mind today? We're talking about what healthy relationships. Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. So we're going to be dealing with, you said healthy relationships?
Mind you. There is a such thing.
Yeah, that almost sounds like an oxymoron. Healthy relationship.
Yeah, I know, right? It's interesting.
Well, if we're going to be talking about healthy relationships, you know my focus is going to be in my own community.
Okay.
Healthy relationships. There seems to be an epidemic, pandemic, as it were, regarding healthy relationships in the African American community.
Okay.
I'd like to get in this conversation. Well, let's go back a little bit.
Okay. And don't forget now, we're doing a segment called "Is This Your Man?" So we can definitely incorporate some of that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm going to deal with that too.
I bet you are.
we were discussing previously the gay manifesto and the homosexual agenda. We got to go back to the beginning and get down to the root of some of these things. And a few weeks back, I read a quote from Plato, and it read as follows. This is from a famous work called the Symposium, and it says, "Sex between a man and a boy alone is capable of satisfying a man's highest and noblest aspirations, and the love between a man and a woman, when spoken of at all, is altogether inferior. It is purely a physical impulse whose sole object is the procreation of life." But I want to, since we're dealing with relationships, and since we as African Americans were brought here as slaves, and we have been both the mental, physical, and spiritual prisoners of the people that brought us here since that time, one of their greatest thinkers said, the love between a man and a woman, when spoken of at all, is altogether inferior. I started off by saying it was a pandemic of unhealthy relationships in Black America. Let me go somewhere else.
Okay.
I need to deal with this too, and then I'm going to move really fast. I'm prepared today. You know I am. One of the biggest lies that we've been told had to do with this thing called the Emancipation Proclamation, and I'm going somewhere with all of this. And we've been made to believe that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, that the abolition of slavery had to do with, the cruelty and the inhumanity of man to man regarding antebellum chattel slavery. So Abraham Lincoln has been made to become known in our minds as the great emancipator. I'm going to read to you what Abraham Lincoln said, a direct quote from his own mouth. Now, this all leads to why there's this pandemic of unhealthy relationships in Black America. As far as slavery is concerned, he said, and I quote, "There must be a position of superior," now this is Abraham Lincoln now, it says, "there must be a position of superior and inferior, and I, as much as any man, am in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race." He goes on to say, quote, "I am not, nor ever have been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and Black races." He said further, I'm going somewhere. Just hang with me for a minute. Hang with me for 1 minute. Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. So here's another quote from him. Abraham Lincoln on slavery. Quote, "I have no purpose directly or indirectly to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it now exists. I believe I have no lawful right to do so, and I have no inclination to do so." Abraham Lincoln. Okay, this is the Great American Code. Okay, so we're talking about unhealthy relationships. I just spoke about slavery, and I started off there. See, one of the things we don't do as people is we don't study our history. We don't know where we have come from or what was done to us to shape our minds and our thinking. So there are a lot of things that we did during the antebellum slavery days that we are yet doing. Some of us aren't conscious of it. Yep. But there's a lot of what I call plantation mentality that yet exists in our community in as much as how we behave and interact with each other, and that includes relationships. All right. Now, y'all know my favorite book is The Bullwhip Days. It's kind of like my Bible.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to read, I got to read this, and this will help us. This will start the conversation off.
Okay.
Quite well. Let me just get to it here.
Okay. And I want you to know you're making Abraham Lincoln look pretty bad because you know black people oftentimes thought he was like the savior to African slaves. So keep going.
Well, you have to do your research to find out the truth. I mean, people can make you believe a whole bunch of stuff that just is not true. Now, this is the antebellum slavery. There's a couple things I need to read. Right, Bullwhip Days, this is from Hilliard Yellerday, a former slave. I think I gave the history on this book. This is a compendium of accounts of the slaves themselves or what life was like during the antebellum days of chattel slavery. Hilliard Yellerday says this, and I quote, it says, when a girl became a woman, she was required to go to a man to become a mother. There was generally a form of marriage. The master read from a paper, then telling them they were man and wife. Some were married by the master by the laying down of a broom, and the two slaves, man and woman, would jump over it. You see all of our people at these marriage ceremonies jumping over brooms?
Yes,
I do. They call that jumping the broom. Okay, that comes from slavery. They made a movie about it. I was insulted. But anyway, the master would tell them, the master would tell them that they were man and wife and they could go to bed together. Master would sometimes go and get a large, Dale hardy Negro man from some other plantation to go to his Negro woman, meaning to have sex with him.
Right.
Okay. There was no relationships. There was no courting and all this stuff we now do. He would just go grab somebody and bring him to the plantation and tell him to mate with the female. All right. It goes on to say he would ask the other master to let this man come up to his place to go to his slave girls. Listen to this. A slave girl was expected to have children as soon as she became a woman. Some of them had children at the age of 12 and 13 years of age. Negro men 6 feet tall went into some of these children. Okay? Unhealthy relationship. Here we go. I need to read this. It says, this is from John Smith, another slave. It says, my master owned 3 plantations and 300 slaves. He started out with 2 women slaves and raised 200 slaves. Do you hear what he just said? He started out with 2 women and raised 300. Where did them 300 come from? I'm going to tell you. One was called Short-Leg Peggy, and the other was called Long-Leg Peggy. Long-Leg Peggy had 25 children. Long-Leg Peggy, a black woman, was boss of the plantation. Master freed her after she had 25 children. Just think of that. Raising 300 slaves with 2 women. It showed the truth. Let me read some more, since we're talking about unhealthy relationships. We need to get down to the origin of why it is we have these unhealthy relationships today. It says, this is from Hannah Jones. Ben Oil, another slave rather, Ben Oil had 100 niggas. He just raised niggas on his plantation. His brother-in-law, John Cross, raised niggas too. He had 125 niggas. He had a nigger farm. Okay, a nigger farm. His older brother-in-law, old man English, had 100 niggers. They all just had nothing but niggers. Last one I'm going to read. Okay? It says, and this is from Lewis Jones, another former slave. And this book has hundreds of stories like this, and they're all the same. It says, my mammy am owned by my master, Fred Tate, and so am my pappy and all my brothers and sisters. How many brothers and sisters, Lord Almighty, I tell you, because you asked. And this nigga gives the facts every year. Let's see. I can remember my pappy had 12 children by my mammy and 12 children by another nigga named Mary. You count. You keep count. Then there's Lisa. He'd have 10 by her. And then there's Maddie. He'd have 8 by her. Then there's Daddy. He'd have 6 by her. Now let's recollect some more. I can bring names to mind, but there are 2 or 3 others who have just 1 or 2 children by my pappy. Damn right, close to 50 children, because my mammy done told me. Okay, so what you have during antebellum slavery for almost 400-500 years of our earliest history in this country was breeding. There were no relationships. Exactly. There were no healthy relationships. Okay, this is a situation that we originated in. We were brought over here as chattel slaves. And the word chattel means animal. I have a book here called 100 Facts About the Negro with Complete Proof. And in the book, I can read it to you. I don't want people to think I'm just making stuff up.
I got a question for you real quickly, and that is
go ahead. While I'm looking at
we're segueing from unhealthy relationships to healthy relationships. So we understand that we've come in with something that is nothing but negative altogether. And you're saying, Deryl, that we've moved forward from, well, we really haven't moved forward too far because some of us still don't understand what a healthy relationship looks like. So go ahead.
No, we don't.
We really don't. If you're talking about us coming from breeding, being chattel at one time, keep going. This 20 to 25 children per mammy. Wow. And we still, some of our young girls still have some of this mentality today.
Yeah, and I'm dealing with how we were shaped and seasoned, and how our minds were framed, and how we were made to think, and how we still think and act today. George Washington, it says here, the number 4 fact in his book, in as much as I just said we were brought here and we were chattel slaves, and chattel meaning animal. Here's the fact. George Washington sent a Negro slave to Barbados to be exchanged, that is, traded, for a hogshead of molasses, a cask of rum, and other good old spirits. So he traded a human being for basically liquor, like he was a commodity. Okay? All right? Yeah. So I always like to look into a thing and not at it, and that's what we do. We look at them. We don't look into them. We don't really... Yeah, we don't delve into them. We don't understand. We don't get down to the root cause of why it is that we have a lot of unhealthy relationships. There are some healthy relationships. I'm not saying that's not the case. And I'm not saying that we as African Americans don't have the capacity to have healthy relationships.
Well, you make me wonder.
I'm just saying that a lot of the behaviors, the cheating, the adultery that's running rampant in our churches right now. I'm not talking on the street. I'm talking in the church. A lot of the other things, the lack of respect, the lack of self-respect, the lack of respect for another person's, relationship or union, whether it be a marriage or just them dating. Some of us don't have a clue of what a healthy relationship is.
Yeah. What a healthy relationship should look like. This is Brave Talk Radio, so we can talk about, what should it look like and what have we come from and what our history has been. And you're right, within the church, as we, talk about even within the churches, there is a lot of disrespect. And some people find it to be okay from the leadership on down. But I think because it has a lot to do with, like you say, the history. And what you said, Deryl, in reference to the superior and the inferior, in reference to Abraham Lincoln, him not being inclined whatsoever, then he was basically saying he had no interest whatsoever in dealing with any building relationships among white and black people. So here we are today. We even deal with mixed races in the churches too. Because there are some in the churches, and everybody's just confused. People don't really know today what it needs to look like. Single girls don't know what it needs to look like because they don't have fathers in the home, didn't have a dad in the home. Relationships, women, young girls don't know what to do as far as what a man should look like in their presence because, hey, they've been raised with a bunch of women.
What I'm saying is for 400 to 500 years in this country, you didn't have a man in the home. You didn't have a man in the home.
Wow, that's a good point.
Okay,
you
weren't allowed to have and form relationships. Master just told the slave who to sleep with, and the purpose for him bringing men and women together. I told you, Plato said, and the love between a man and woman, when spoken of it all, is altogether a theory. These are the people that brought us here.
My.
So, the love between a man and a woman. Okay. So, yes, the love between a man and a woman, when spoken of at all, is altogether a theory. If that is the mindset of the master or the dominant society that is responsible for putting us in this condition, what do you think our perspective is going to be? Let me read one more. Since I said, let me read one more. This is from Katie Phoenix, another slave. This is what she says. This will speak to how we think and ultimately how we behave. Katie Phoenix, she says, Miss Harris lived alone in a big house. I was the only slave she had. There was no other children, black or white. I knew I was unhappy, but I thought everything was like that. I didn't know that there was happiness for anybody, not me nor anybody else. When I got whipped, I just thought that was just part of being alive. I didn't take it like that. It was my special punishment just coming to me. I slept in Miss Harris' own room on the floor like a dog. It was dark. It was a dark, big house. I now guess that she was scared to be alone asleep. When the war broke out, I didn't know what it was for. Okay, Miss Harris was hating the North, and I was hating the North too. Did you hear what I just said?
Yes,
I thought the North was kind of like a spider in a dream that was going to come and wipe away the house and carry me off. When I heard of Santa Claus coming down the chimney, I screamed. I just supposed that and wasn't going to let him in. Everything was like a tangled dream, just the opposite of what I found out later it was. Okay.
It was nothing but a dream.
Now, that is the microcosm. Yeah, that's a microcosm of our people then and now. Nothing.
Now, and that's funny. Deryl, that's funny you say that, how you made the statement, how we think determines how we behave. She basically did what she saw happening, and that is how we behave today. That's how
yes.
Oh, my God, that's big. That's big.
Y'all should not invite me into this discussion. I got one more thing I got to read.
The churches. Yeah, that's major. That's major because that says we never really knew how to think for ourselves.
Oh, it's worse than that, Latonja. It's worse than that. Let me read one more thing, and I'm gonna shut up. This is called. See, this will help a lot of people. Okay, this right here is something I got. I'm in my war room today, which is where my books and my files and all my stuff is. And when y'all call me up and tell me what these discussions are going to be about, I have to go and do my research and get prepared. And I have a myriad of things I can refer to, but here is the one thing I have to make perfectly clear today that will help us understand why we think the way we think and why we behave the way we do. We are some dysfunctional people. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons why. Yeah. This is entitled Sex Farms During Antebellum Slavery and a Feminization of the Black Male. It starts off by saying, did you know that during slavery, the slaveholders would buy male slaves to engage in homosexual acts? Most people didn't know that. Let me read. Let me just read this to you. This goes to the mindset of our people. These male slaves were purchased based entirely on the prerequisite of them possessing a large penis. This is what it says. Black men were routinely raped by their gay slave owners. Okay? It goes on to talk about what was called buck breaking and sex farms. Buck breaking, that's what black men were called, bucks. It says, it involved the strapping of a Negro slave who was defiant, beaten with a whip till bloody in front of the entire slave congregation, which means they made all the slaves watch this. And all of this information has been posited into the DNA and the subconscious mind of all of our people, even now. It says the slave owner would cut down a tree, and with the help of the overseer was usually black, would then pummel the deviant black or buck into submission. Once the slave was worn down, the master had the other Negro slaves force him over the tree stump where his breeches would be removed, and he would be laid fully exposed buttocks. he talking about the master, he would remove his own clothing and then proceeded to savagely sodomize the buck in front of his wife, family, friends, and children. So this is what happened originally. This is how we were seasoned. Now, what's the symbology here? There was a movie done by, I think, Quentin Tarantino with Ving Rhames called Pulp Fiction.
Right. Yep.
You had Ving Rhames, this big, gut-headed, muscle-bound brother like me, bending over with a pool ball in his mouth, and the white man sodomizing him in the movie. So y'all are going to tell me that things have changed? You're going to tell me I'm wrong? When they put stuff like that in the movie, it's just that because we have never been told or seen or taught any of this or made to forget a lot of this. When we see this stuff, we don't even know what's happening. We have no clue, no point of reference, no understanding that this is a ritual, okay, designed to emasculate, designed to disempower, designed to destroy us mentally, and that destroys our chances of engaging in some of us, because some of us have done the research and have come out of this slave mentality. But this inhibits our chances of getting into what we call healthy relationships. Hello, somebody.
And, you know, and it's so funny, Deryl, because it makes me think about some of the things that I've been seeing recently on Facebook where they're showing young boys, black boys, mind you, beating one another, pulling each other's clothes off, beating one another, and to the point of sodomizing one another. And people act like they don't see it. The church doesn't talk about it. This is totally and completely dysfunctional. And it does go back to, like you mentioned, what did you call it? The
Bullwood days.
Bullwood days. Oh, my God. So we are duplicating history, literally.
Let me stop you, because there are going to be those people that will say that, okay, we've always been that way. That has always been how black men and black women are.
That's the reason why we're behind today, because we're constantly talking about that's the way it's always been. So how can we have healthy relationships when we're that dysfunctional?
Yeah, that's because we have been made to forget that we were once empire rulers. We had our own nations, our own civilizations, and we had our own code of conduct and our own values and our own mores before, you know, the greatest atrocity in human history occurred to us. I'm going to read to you from Introduction to African Civilization. African civilizations were initially matriarchal. Everything was predicated upon the woman in ancient African society. Did you know that? The woman was held in the highest of regard.
We're going to go to a break real quick. We will be right back.
You are listening to Brave Talk Radio at TonyEmahel.com. Hi, this is Tony Emahel, and I've got one question for you. Is this your man?
When you're dating a baby boy, there's this unhealthy contract that is signed that I've noticed. The baby boy says indirectly, hey, I will continue to look good, I will continue to give you great sex, and I will continue to make you feel good about yourself as long as you give me a place to stay, food to eat, a car to drive, and a roof over my head. And I always tell women, if the baby boy had his stuff together, he had a great career, money, all this stuff, you would be amazed how quickly he would be out the relationship.
Is this your man? Join us for an exclusive series of interview with author Colin Tate beginning Saturday, April 30th, here on the Take It to the Maxx Radio Network. It's Brave Talk Radio on TonyEmahel.com with your host, Deryl Williams, Jackie Little Guess, and Tony Emahel.
And we're back, and I want to thank you for joining us here on Brave Talk Radio. Deryl, you were going to pick up where we left off. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to deal with the fact that there are some people that will say that that's just how we are. And I think I debunked that whole notion last week when I read National Security Memorandum 46. That's not how we are. But we need a point of reference from the standpoint of history. In point of fact, this is what history says. This is taken from one of my books here in my war room called Introduction to African Civilizations by John G. Jackson, one of the greatest books I've ever read. It says and we left off talking about the matriarchal structure of African societies in ancient times and prior to our enslavement. It says the social features of pre-patriarchal societies have sometimes survived under conditions of advanced civilization. This happened notably in Kemet, down to the time when a dynasty of Greek rulers sought to introduce foreign usages. The conservative society of the great African kingdom, which has contributed largely to the material and intellectual culture of the Western world, never lost its lineaments of a matriarchal social order. It says the functions of royalty in ancient Kemet were regarded as being transmitted in the female line. While every Egyptian princess of the royal house was born a queen and bore the titles and dignities of the office from the day of her birth, a man only acquired them at his coronation, and could do so only by becoming a consort, meaning a partner of a royal princess. Those features of the constitution of Kemet royalty are not singular. They are substantially identical with those obtained in all other African kingdoms. So the woman was regarded as pretty much, she was the top of the order. Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was regarded as royalty. And today, young ladies, young women, women in general, old, young, you name it, they have no earthly idea what they were predestined to always be. They have no earthly idea what God has truly. Oh, you know, and that's why I know your heart goes out to putting those or instilling that into your daughter and your children's children and my children and all of our children. That's crucial today. They don't know. They don't know, Deryl.
Let me read one of the things.
You know, I mean, how do we do this? How do we transition to something?
Let me read one other thing that's going to help y'all today. I'm trying to help y'all today. I know some people out there need some help, so I'm going to help y'all. The great Pharaoh Akhenaten. Okay, reading from The World's Great Men of Color by J.A. Rogers. This is coming from Volume 1. I'm going to read a quick passage here to let you know what relationships were like amongst our own people when we ruled and controlled our own empires. It says here, speaking of Akhenaten, it says, he also encouraged respect for women by setting an example. Now, he was the Pharaoh. He was the ruler, the top of the food chain, as it were. It says he encouraged respect for women by setting an example. He is portrayed in many affectionate poses with his wife, the beautiful queen Nefertiti, who is said by several authorities to be whoever she was. It goes on to say, although she presented him with 7 daughters and he longed for a son, he did not take another wife. Because you hear all this stuff about all these people having all of these wives and concubines and all this crazy stuff. And Akhenaten didn't do that. He says he seems never to tire posing with the members of his family for the artist. As for his mother, the great Queen Queen T, a cold black woman, his affection for her stands out as one of the great examples of filial love. Okay, so we're not the dogs. We're not from Mars and all this other crap I've been hearing. We're not these evil, degenerate, criminalized, egregious, inhuman, subhuman beings. Not at least historically speaking. But again, we've been talking a lot about propaganda, and I've been saying it since we started the show. Most of what we get through the media, which is primarily responsible for mind control and behavioral modification concerning African males and African people in general, you have 2 scenarios. You have the criminalized black, and then you have the out-of-control black woman. That's all you see on all of the so-called reality shows. That's all you see in the news. That's all you see on CNN, Fox, NBC, and all these mainstream white-controlled, white-owned, white-dominated media outlets. That's all you ever see. That's all you ever see in this country. And you've had 400 to 500, maybe 600 years of just complete domination and oppression. And you've seen all of these slave breeding scenarios and all these other things that I've been reading and talking about, then it to me, it's very easy to understand and almost be able to predict.
Oh, yeah, when I think about it, right.
epidemic of unhealthy relationships. Okay,
exactly.
There's a show that comes on, and I would encourage anyone out there that's really interested in taking a look at the dynamics of black relationships. There's a show that comes on every Monday night on TV One called Fatal Attraction, and it's the same storyline over and over and over and over. Every Monday night it's the same storyline. And here's typically what you're going to see. A black woman, she's looking for love, and in many cases she'll end up with someone like me, someone that will take the garbage out, someone that if she lives in a home and she owns it and she's got a yard that needs to be landscaped, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to take care of that. Someone like me that if something breaks in her house and she needs it repaired and she lets me know, I got it handled. Someone like me that will pick her up, escort her out of the house, escort her to the car, open her door up, let her sit down, make sure she's seated, make sure she's secure, then I get in the car. Someone like me who, when we go out, if I'm the man, I'm paying. That kind of thing. Someone that will not call a woman out of her name. Someone that will not beat a woman. And coincidentally, the very first girlfriend I had, let me just tell this story.
Let me say this real quick. Ladies out there, if I understand correctly, if you all are wondering, yes, DW is single. Keep talking.
My very first, well, that wasn't the point, but anyway, my very first girlfriend, her name was Sharice. I won't give her last name. I was 17 years of age, and my paradigm for dating and relationships was my grandfather. My grandfather took very good care of my step-grandmother. He treated her like a queen, just like I read about Akhenaten. That's how my grandfather treated my grandmother. So that's all I know when it comes to women. And when she was the very first girlfriend I had, I bought my first car because she tired of catching the bus to school. So I made money, I had money. I went and I bought a car. I didn't make payments. I bought a car so that I could drive out to where she lived to drive her to school. I treated her like a queen. And then one day she told me, out of the blue, she said, I got to break up with you. And I said, okay, what did I do? And she said, well, you won't hit me. You won't beat me. I've tried everything in my power to get you to get mad and get you to get rocked. You're laughing, but that's what she said. That is what she said.
God.
And so I was.
I've heard this before. From women, in general, it's crazy.
Devastated. I was devastated. So I ran into her sister.
Oh, my God.
And I talked to her sister. And me and her sister were involved. And I said, well, what did I do? And her sister said, well, what did she tell you? I said, well, she said she broke up with me because I wouldn't beat her. And the sister said, oh, okay, I know what's going on. I know why she told you that. Mm-hmm. She is used to that because she's used to seeing my daddy beat my mama. So she thinks that's what constitutes what we're talking about, healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So he left me and started dating this young man after me. He was abusive. He did call her names. He did beat on her. Not only did she date him, she married him and had 5 children by him.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, let's go back. How were black women treated on plantations for almost 400 or 500 years? They were brutalized. They were beaten. A lot of women, when they get in relationships and they get involved in fornication, they want what's called rough sex. Where does that come from? That comes from Massa going in the slave shanty, grabbing her by the head, throwing her down on the ground, taking her clothes off, and basically brutally raping her in front of everybody. Black women have gone through that for 600 years. So now here's the point. When they emancipated us, when Lincoln emancipated the slaves, and they just let us go, there was no psychotherapy in place to help transform our minds from chattel enslavement to being a free people. So what do you think you're going to do after you've been enslaved for 500 years? You're going to do what you know to do. You're going to behave how you know to behave. And if you are accustomed to being grabbed by the head, thrown on the ground, raped, called all kind of names, not called a female, called a witch, okay, or given some random name. What do you think your expectation is going to be in 2016? And that show, Fatal Attraction, every night shows that same dynamic being replayed over and over and over in all of these relationships where the good guy like me, black women don't want. I'm not going to beat you.
Yeah, you know why? Because you're not the roughneck.
I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to call you. Listen to me. I'm going to say this on it. I'm not going to call you the bitch. I'm not going to call you the whore. I'm not going to fight and punch you in the face and throw you around because you don't value me and you don't value yourself if you allow somebody to treat you like that.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So,
and that's the truth right there.
So women don't want guys like me. I was even told this by a brother. He says, you can't be nice to women. If you're nice to them, they'll run over you, they'll get rid of you, and they'll go for the thug every time. And on that show, Fatal Attraction, the woman, she'll have a good guy like me, she'll leave him for a bank robber, for a drug dealer, for
I'm laughing, but I know you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a mind thing. It's all about the mind control. Like you said, it is doing what they've been seeing all along. So like you said, with this young lady, she grew up around a dad who there was nothing but domestic violence or verbal abuse in the home. What else should they expect? And I tell you, as we are segueing from the gay manifesto to unhealthy relationships that were established as far back as Plato, as far back as Abraham Lincoln, and we could go on and on. I tell you, Deryl, this is truly, like you said initially, this is an epidemic because it's still happening today. And the question is now, how do we turn the tide? How do we help young ladies? I mean, in your opinion, Deryl, based upon what you know, what you've experienced, is it too late?
At some point, it does seem hopeless. It does. It really even in the church community, the same game that's played in the street and the same expectations that you would think one would not have is to be had and found even in the church community. There's some positive things to look through. A lot of the propaganda that we get about ourselves makes us see ourselves negatively. But when you discover the truth has a way it should have a way, or the positive effect of changing your mind. I'm going to read something that I just discovered.
We're going to go ahead and close out, too, with that. Go ahead.
I want to use this as an example of what I'm speaking to. This says the truth about black fatherhood in America from the U.S. Census Bureau. Most of the propaganda we get, deadbeat dads, absentee fathers, and all of this stuff that we see every day in this country that basically controls and manipulates how we think. Here is some information from Robert Bernstein of the Public Information Office of the U.S. Census Bureau. It even gives this number, 301-763-2603. It says here that 42% of black men haven't even fathered children. That's almost half of them. 42% of black men have not fathered children. These are the official U.S. Census Bureau numbers.
Wow.
That's almost half of us. But every time you see a deadbeat dad, who's supposed to shout for deadbeat dads in this country? I need not say anymore. It says 52% of black men father children and take care of them in marriage or as single fathers. 52%.
52%.
How come CNN and C-SPAN and every time somebody does something that can be construed as criminal, it's front page news. As soon as you turn the news on at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's plastered all over everywhere. But these statistics are nowhere to be found. It goes on to say, again, 42% of black men have fathers, no children. It goes on to say that means 92% of black men are either good fathers or have no children. 92%. Okay. This is what I didn't make this up. His name is Robert Bernstein, Public Information Office, U.S. Census Bureau. Everything we've ever been told about ourselves in this country is a lie. Everything that we've ever been made to believe about ourselves in this country is a lie. We are the exact opposite of what these people, the way we're projecting in these movies and these TV shows and in these news media reports. That's not us. So it's not hopeless. We just have to discover who we really are. What I would say is most needed in building and having and maintaining a healthy relationship is you have to be happy with yourself. You need to do some introspection to find out what's wrong with you and make corrections before you go connecting with somebody. And then you need to look for somebody that has the same thing that you have internally, psychologically speaking. Somebody that wants the same thing, someone that's progressive, someone that's spiritual, someone that will respect you. Right. All we ever learned and were taught during antebellum slavery was disrespect for black women, disrespect for black men, and a disregard for black families. That's what we know. That's who we are, which makes us the dysfunctional people that we are. You have to eradicate that dynamic. You know, remove that way of thinking from your psyche, and it's only when that occurs. And you have respect for yourself, respect for your people, and more than that, respect for your woman, like we did during the ancient times, where the woman was the person that occupied the highest strata, because the system was matriarchal. We're not matriarchal, we're patriarchal, and that's where we get all this male chauvinism and male domination stuff, and that's a European psychological construct. That's not me. That's not us.
That's not us. That's right. And this is Brave Talk Radio. My goodness. And truly, we are passing Brave Talk. DW, you are fantastic. And I tell you, I thank you for just bringing so much wealth of information. Next week, I want you all to stay tuned. We here are definitely faith-based, Christian-based, whatever you want to call it. We are truly giving God the glory in all that we're doing, but we're also bringing you the truth here on the Take It to the Max Global Radio Network. Until next week, don't forget to tune in at 9 o'clock p.m. with live chat with Deryl Williams, Tony Hill, Jackie Little Guest, and possibly me, yours truly, Latonja Worsham, here on the Take It to the Max Global Radio Network. Keep it locked. We'll be back.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
You are listening to Brave Talk Radio at TonyMHale.com.
Today's broadcast has been brought to you by Next Level Plus Project Management and Business Consultants. Learn more about how Next Level Plus can help you solve the right problems and seize the right opportunities by calling 704-780-2997 or visit their website at nextlevelplus.org.